So my partner and I lived and breathed by using these wind checkers for many years. You know, we'd have the various bottles that are on the and packed away, you know, in a pocket or whatever. But we were a little bit frustrated with that because, you know, we have an approaching buck or a giant elk coming downwind, and you're reaching around trying to grab your wind checker, trying to get a read on, you know, any swirling or thermal action that's going to be throwing your scent towards these large animals. So we got together and we said we need to build a better mousetrap, so to speak. So we did that, we think. Came up with that really light, pliable material. It doesn't take but a tap to get a good read of what the wind's going to do for you. But on top of that, the folks from Scent Blocker said, you know, can you put a scent in there, you know, a cover scent or an attractant? And we put our heads together, Brian and I, and we figured, yeah, well, we could do it. But we knew right away we had to work with a synthetic. We had to turn it into a powder form, and that wasn't going to happen with real deer doe estrus or urine. So we started testing. And in a rare moment of clarity, we thought, well, let's just make some scrapes and throw our trail cameras over it. So after a year and a half of trials and testing, we have about 6.5 hours of incredible footage. Some of that you're going to see today, of bucks, does, young and old, 7.5 to 2.5, you name it, coming into this. I haven't seen anything like this in the industry, and we're quite excited by it. You might say it was a perfect accident, but whatever we're doing, it's amazing. So we're going to show you and take you through on this. Now, a lot of people say, what's a scrape? And in the deer world, a scrape is how they communicate. Both bucks and does actually use scrapes, and a scrape is going to be always it's going to have an overhanging limb, and we call that a licking branch. And what they do is they rub their antlers or their foreheads on this licking branch. They also lick it and put their saliva on it. But what the rubbing motion does, it stimulates some glandular secretions, and then they urinate or defecate over their tarsal glands, which are on the back of their feet, their rear feet, and that leaves their footprint, the identifying mark of the whitetail. Now, what a whitetail can read from that is the age, the sex, and the approximate time that particular deer is going to come into estrus. Now, that is an amazing, insanely interesting scientific fact about the whitetail world. So in hunting, in our pursuits, you know, we want to attract them, obviously, and we want to keep them coming back in our area. Obviously, we don't want to spook them, so that's why we use a scent checker, a wind checker. That's why we try and wear the Scent Blocker suits and try to remain as scent-free as possible. What this has become is not only a wind checking device, but it's an attractant, a cover scent, and then more importantly, a scrape maker. 6.5 hours of footage are just nothing short but of spectacular. I looked around, and we haven't seen that much success. So our scientific experiment gone horribly right is really something, and we're going to show you some of that today. But we're extremely excited about the product.
You know, when Brian and David brought me this product, a synthetic scent, I was a little bit curious of whether it would work or not, because I'm kind of a traditional guy, and when something works, I typically won't change it. But when they showed me video of how they use this product, where they put the mock scrape down with a camera on top of it, and the deer were coming in consistently, that's certainly made me a believer, and I can't wait to test it out this fall.